What was it Benjamin Franklin said? We only know the worth of water when the well is dry. We kind of take it for granted. You're used to it. You turn on the tap and out comes the water, and it's usually okay to drink.
I feel a little sad that if you read a book on cell biology, you can almost not find the word water in the index of the book.
In conventional science, it was pretty standard to just consider water as a passive medium.
Merely the background carrier of the more important molecules of life. It's the stuff that fills the bathtub, doesn't do anything, just sits there.
No molecular structuring, no intelligence or responsiveness.
The thing about magic is you can be so used to it you don't even see magic anymore. You get accustomed to it. And one of the best examples of that is water.
Water changes from a liquid to frozen to a vapor. And if we could all be malleable like that to our environment, to our life, we'd be much happier people.
We all grow up learning that there are three phases of water: the solid ice and the liquid and the vapor. We discovered a fourth phase of water. The fourth phase of water is required for practically everything the cell does.
Water has certain quantum mechanical properties that are quite astounding.
I wanted to see whether or not water could crystallize my thoughts in ice.
Water responds to different words. To thank you in Japanese and you fool, whether the word is negative or positive makes huge difference at the molecular level.
I once asked water if it knew my name, and as it froze, it designed a VA, exactly linked in the way that I link my initials. I've since repeated that twice and seen the same result.
Structured phases, liquid crystalline phases of water, responsiveness to human emotion.
Something in water is probably an answer to a question we don't even know what that question is yet.
The story of water is so rich, it's incumbent upon us to fully bring that story forward so that there is a deeper, richer understanding of life.
She is a living consciousness, a being that can shapeshift however she is needed.
And if you were to say someone who didn't know better that that is the same as this, they'd say, you're crazy. And if you said this and that is the same as that white cloud up in the sky that's not there right now, all of that is the same thing. Not only that, this solid piece of water floats. And in time will disappear. That's magic. Water has this magical property that we're so accustomed to, we don't even see it anymore.
Water is our first home before we take our first breath. So we have this deep connection of feeling complete when we remember water and what water truly is to us, the significance in our culture.
There's a lot of new studies coming out, I notice, about that how important it is for us to be near water, to listen to water. I think the trickling sound of water is really beautiful and special. I also just think, absorbing the water through our skin, if we're sitting in a bath or a shower or a pool or an ocean, it really replenishes us. And also it rebalances our mind, because we spend so much time looking at screens, being distracted, watching news. We really have to find a way to recenter.
We're 2/3 water, and many people don't realize, but the kind of water that fills your body, that fills the cell, is not liquid H2O. It actually, the body converts it into a kind of water whose formula is H3O2.
Water behaves quite differently in these confined nanospaces of the biological system. So to give an example of some of those, up against the plasma membrane of the cell, in the aquaporin channels of the plasma membrane that is shuttling water in and out of the cell, inside some of the macromolecular structures of the cell, like the microtubule, the mitochondria.
The molecules are all lined up, so-called structured. We call it EZ, or exclusion zone water, or we call it fourth phase of water.
It is crystalline in nature. So in these confined nanospaces, it behaves more in the domain of quantum mechanics than a classical material. A molecule or an atom can be in states such as a superposition. So in a superposition, things like its location, its spin orientation, even the state of the covalently bonded atoms in the molecule is not quite determined. It is kind of in a state that encompasses all possibilities. Investigating water confined in a beryllium crystal, which is very similar to like inside the microtubules of the cell, the cytoskeleton elements of the cell, where it's atomically ordered, the molecules. The hydrogen atoms are not necessarily confined or attached to any one particular oxygen molecule in that H2O structure. The protons and even the electrons are in a delocalized state. All the oxygens are freely sharing the hydrogen moieties, the protons. They're freely sharing the electrons. Now, this is akin to like a metal. In a metal, all of the electrons are delocalized in most metals. And this is why most metals are conductive materials, because the electrons are free to move around, they can carry a charge. The water is behaving like this in this confined nanospace.
Our finding of fourth phase water, the water is negatively charged and the region beyond that water is positively charged. And the separation of those two charges is like a battery. And we found that we can indeed, for example, light a light bulb.
What's more, there was direct observations of using spectroscopy of water in this superposition. The proton at one end could instantly quantum tunnel and be at the other end. This is one of the fascinating properties that are occurring with water in the biological system, where it's actually functioning in quantum information processing. It's functioning as like a qubit, because it's in this superposition of states.
The question of whether water naturally produces information and such. I think this is quite possible because we know that the easy fourth phase water can store information.
Nine years ago, I kind of embarked on this journey of discovery to see whether or not water really could store information, share information, and have some kind of memory. I had a very rudimentary idea that I would project a thought into water, freeze it, and see what happened. So I had a petri dish of water, and as I was thinking about what I was going to project, I noticed there was a bit of fluff floating around in there. So I put my hand in to take the fluff out, consciously thinking, I wonder if my hand will have any impact on the water's memory. I put it into the freezer. A few hours later, I came back and I took it out of the freezer, held it up to the light, and took a photo on my iPhone. What I saw was an undeniable image of a hand. That image was so remarkable to me. I didn't know very much about water. I didn't know the incredible stage of freezing that I know now. The stage between molecular chaos and molecular order. I call it the space of creation, where water can use its building blocks of ice to design like an architect. And that photo has launched 36,000 photos of water responding in an incredibly intelligent, artistic manner. Essentially, I am taking photographs of water in a very specific stage of freezing to see whether it has picked up any of the influence prior to freezing. Those influences could be thoughts, words, music, pictures. There's really no limit to what I can use and what I have used.
No one really knew that water makes crystals like snowflakes. How water receives our intention, prayer, our emotions. This is before and after we send intentions or prayers. If it's positive, it creates beautiful crystals. He discovered that words has its own vibration. Thank you. I love you. You're beautiful, happy, joy. All these beautiful and positive words create beautiful water crystals because water is observing that beautiful energy, vibration. And when we show the ugly words, negative words such as you fool, I hate you, you're awful, and you do it in a ordering way, water cannot create beautiful hexagonal crystal. And it's very interesting because when we showed the picture of elephant to water, water made this trunk. And heart mark, when water saw this heart mark, it created this cute heart mark also. He started to take many crystals from different waters all around the world, also from tap waters from different cities, and discovered the differences between tap water and natural waters. What about after water listening to beautiful music and destructive music? Beautiful music creates beautiful crystals, and ugly and destructive music creates, it's not even a crystal.
I would play the song with the petri dish of water by the speaker. Then I would freeze it using my method of short-term crystallography. take it out and photograph it. And each time I played that song, I kept seeing this stairway kind of image appear. And after a while, I thought, well, I wonder if that actually means stairway. So I wrote the word stairway. I put my petri dish of water on top of it for 30 seconds. Then I took it off, put it in the freezer, used my technique and photographed it. And sure enough, there was a stairway. And then I thought, well, I wonder if it'll do it again. So I did the whole thing again, and sure enough, I saw this stairway appear. Eventually, I'd done it 50 times, and each time I'd seen this same symbol. And then I thought, you know, this is not random. I actually think that this is the symbol for the energy of the word stairway. Now, I say the word energy because water doesn't read words. Water reads the energy of words, which is why I can use the same word in different languages and see the same symbol. So then I thought, well, what do you do with a stairway? And I thought, well, especially relevant to the Stairway to Heaven song, you climb up it. So I wrote the words climb up, and I used the technique, and sure enough, I saw this symbol, the stairway symbol. And then I realized, gosh, there seems to be layers of meaning to this. Now, although it's taken me 4 years, I've identified 36 hydroglyphs that essentially are symbols for the meanings of different words. This has been just remarkable to me, and to say I have one hydroglyph means that I have to have used the same word influence and seen the same result in the ice at least 50 times. As the ice starts to melt, and science is so concerned about this, there is an interesting thing about the melting stage on so many different levels. One is that when someone makes us melt, it is literally opening our hearts. And when ice, which is a solid, starts to melt, but before it's a liquid, it is a liquid crystal. It's the same stage where I photograph ice, my ice, which is the stage between liquid and solid. It's kind of a liquid crystal in between stage. And honestly, that's where I see the most incredible, amazing architecture appear. It's literally where the invisible becomes visible. It's where art is the heart of water. And so I have a lot of hope that in this stage where we're at in the world, where the ice is melting, that it can melt our hearts. It can melt into this liquid crystal stage, which I think can be so powerful for the world and for our future.
Driven by increased carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere and other human activities, the planet's average surface temperature has risen about 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the late 19th century. Most of the warming occurred in the last 40 years, the most recent being the warmest. 2016 and 2020 are tied for the warmest years on record. The World Meteorological Organization say global temperatures are likely to surge to record levels in the next 5 years, fueled by heat-trapping greenhouse gases and naturally occurring El Niño event. Between 1993 and 2019, Greenland lost an average of 279 billion tons of ice per year. Antarctica lost about 148 billion tons of ice per year. Everest's highest glacier has lost 2,000 years of ice in only 30 years. Most of this loss has occurred since 1990. If this rate continues, experts say the glacier is probably going to disappear. This surprising finding that the Earth's highest ice may be gone within a few decades is a real wake-up call. We can do a lot of things to be able to stop climate change, in my opinion. One of them is reforestations. The trees, the roots themselves, they act like sponges, and they can actually maintain the water on the mountains, which is where the rivers come from. To maintain vegetation is almost like having a big sponge upstream that slowly trickles down downstream. And so continue to restore the forests is a big part to not only help curb the climate change, but also to help us maintain water in the mountains and eventually coming down to us as well. We have to restore all the mangroves. We have to restore the coral reefs. It takes a big effort, but it can be done. It can definitely be done.
What I'm really interested in is this question. Is water conscious, or is our consciousness affecting the water? So essentially, does water really have its own original voice? And so far, my research is suggesting that it does. I had an amazing relationship with my mum. She really was a walking angel, and she passed away in 1999 of cancer. I was missing her, and I said to water, could you connect to my mum? My mum and I, we would write letters to each other, and at the end of every letter, she would attempt to draw a circle, and she'd put a heart in the middle. Now, what I saw in the ice was a misshapen circle with a heart in the middle. And when I saw that, it was so touching. Now, every year, on her birthday, I ask water the same question, and I see the same response. So if that's not water both communicating and sharing messages with me, I don't know what is.
What I feel that water has to teach us, to give all of us, in a soul level, is how to bond with another human, another person. Drops of water cling to each other, they bond, they find each other, they create pools. Water surrenders to itself, and it surrenders to any property that you put into it. If we as people could understand each other at this level and could learn how to come together the way water does, we could have peace on earth, and we could find the solutions necessary to save our earth.
Water is the way for creating peace on earth, because water is a living, conscious being. Even though we cannot see with our own naked eyes, there exists humidity, water in the air. If water receives positive words and intention and vibration, water goes out, communicates with other waters all around the world instantaneously.
We are, in fact, incredible bodies of water interconnected with this life on this planet. When we cut ourselves, we leak. When we go to the bathroom, we leak. When we cry, we leak. When we sweat, we leak. We are fluid. And yet we see ourselves as so solid with our fourth phase water eyes. That means a kind of plasma. Our eye lens is 99% water. In fact, we see everything through the lens of water. We just never really think about it. What I would love is for people to see themselves as bodies of water, connected with all other bodies of water that may very well not be in a human form, to have compassion, to become the highest expression of water, which is non-judgmental, which is transparent. If we can take those qualities of water and see them reflected back at us through others and through this world, then I think we can see a much more beautiful world.
We are vibration, and water is observing that vibration. So the best is for all of us to send love and gratitude to water, because it will create the most beautiful crystal, such as this one. This is the most beautiful crystal that water ever made, from the two words together, love and gratitude.
ある水が美しい六角形を構成するような、そのような環境。
He healed more than 10,000 people with using H2O vibrational machine and customized water for everyone. He wanted to show that water has memory and carries information.
A good question is indeed about the information that is stored in the water, or the messages that come from the water. And I think this is a reality. The reason that many people have thought that this is complete nonsense is that people look at water as individual molecules that are bouncing around randomly a huge number of times each second, doing a jitterbug. And in such a structure, it is difficult to imagine that information could be stored or information could be released, because the structure keeps changing. In a computer memory, we have a fixed structure. We have a three-dimensional array of silicon atoms, and each atom can be changed from one state to another state. One is a 0 and one is a 1. Well, the fourth phase water that we found resembles very much what's in a computer memory. Instead of silicon, though, we have hydrogen and oxygen. And in the fourth phase of water, it's a crystal. So the hydrogens and oxygens, particularly the oxygens, are organized in a regular three-dimensional fixed array. So you can imagine that if each of the oxygens in this, it's a stack of hexagonal sheets we found. If each of these oxygens could have two different states, like an on and off state, it would closely resemble a computer memory. In fact, each oxygen has 5 different states. The so-called oxidation states of oxygen range from -2 to -1 to 0 to +1 +2. That's 5 states, which means, at least in theory, that not only does the fourth phase of water, not only does it have the capacity to store information and, of course, to release stored information, but to do it in a way that far surpasses what engineers can do with silicon. So we can imagine, for example, eventually that a computer memory could be built of this kind of fourth phase water, which, by the way, can be solidified at room temperature.
The potential applications of some of our technologies with the water are far-ranging, like potentially using water and crystals for quantum computation, quantum information processing, which can enable some pretty futuristic, some pretty far-out type technologies.
Someone once said to me, what if water is expressing its consciousness through us and every other thing on this planet to observe itself from every perceivable and imperceivable perspective? And I really love that concept.
It's not trivial, the role that water is playing in the body. Kind of with that Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without, the water plays a similarly important role in the biosphere, the global ecosystem. So it's important to understand what it's doing inside ourselves, and the central integral role it's playing in supporting a unified, coherent whole and making vitality in life possible. It plays the same function outside of the biological system in the larger biosphere, which is a superorganism itself.
I've studied the great traditions of spirituality, and every tradition holds water as sacred. In Buddhism, we have the Zen watercourse way. In India, the Mother Ganga, the river. She's sacred, she's holy, she's a living being that pilgrims go to. In the Native American culture, water was seen as a place. I mean, you would go to water to commune with the Creator.
Water is the life's blood of our mother, the earth. Water is the lifeblood of our own body.
We've become so secular, and I applaud science. My parents were physiologists at the University of Chicago, so I grew up in science. However, I chose this journey of spirituality because we must, with science, marry the ancient knowledge, the wisdom keepers of these great traditions, so that we can fully understand the great scientific discoveries.
There's also the more spiritual aspect of it, that water is central to spirituality. It seems to pervade all religions. I was speaking in Saudi Arabia. I presented our work on fourth phase water, and some young student comes to me with a copy of the Quran, and he had dog-eared the pages where it talks about water, so many different pages, and he said, "Your discovery of easy water, I think that easy water is the human soul, and we should write a book on this." And my immediate reaction to him, although I thought actually that he had, in retrospect, something interesting to say about it. I told him that, our discovery is radical enough that we have enough problems in getting these ideas out. So after a few years of thinking about it, I drafted some emails to this guy, but his email address must have changed. And so I wanted to tell him that it's a really interesting idea that there's some relation between easy water and the human soul, because of the idea that information can be stored in easy water. I thought he had a really good idea, even though I rejected it out of hand when he presented it.
The living system, the organism, the first cell, it emerged from water. Water was there organizing and ordering and facilitating all the interactions that had to take place to bring together all these complex organic molecules into the first living system, a cell. I believe that there is intelligence at play there, not just random interactions or serendipitous circumstances.
The beautiful part of water is that the earth itself is this wonderful recycling machine, constantly cleaning our own water. The problem is when the humans get involved, we tend to dirty it, we tend to use too much in one place, we tend to leave some places without water that certainly do have opportunity for clean water. Look, man, the challenges are immense these days, from wars to water scarcity to sanitation hygiene, people dying of waterborne disease, to droughts and floods. Our goal and my passion is to make sure that everyone understands their own water first. Where does the water come from that you drink when it comes out of the tap? Where do you find water sources nearby? Where does it go when you flush the toilet? And then beyond that, how does that relate to the bigger global picture?
You know, the Romans built aqueducts that lasted 2,000 years, yet our damn pipes are failing after 50 freaking years. And we go, oh, it's aging infrastructure. Well, it's not aging infrastructure. These pipes were designed for 100 and 150 years of service. And they fail is because it was just poor engineering. Follow the campaign contributions in any of the 3,000 plus counties we have in the United States. And it tells a story. You got a handful of developers, you got a handful of consultants that put these clowns in office. They don't want somebody in there to tell the truth or look at the things. They want to run the club. And they get in bed with these consultants and they do all these big projects. You know, when I first went to Capitol Hill 20 years ago, it was good. They made it almost impossible to go down there anymore. And again, there are public servants. But, you know, I'm very disappointed.
I'm involved with 2 different Rotary areas of focus. I do community and economic development as one of the 6, and also water and sanitation. Water is the #1 component. Without water in place, without having water, we cannot address anything else, and that includes community and economic development. It includes education, it includes health. Without water, we can't have any of those.
Education is really the solution to understanding the water challenges. People need to have an awareness of what the problem is before they can care about it enough to make a difference, to take simple actions. We don't think about food waste wasting water, but that hamburger you didn't eat was 680 gallons of water. Compare that with a food choice of the Impossible Burger, which is 4 gallons of water. I'm not saying don't eat meat, but there are choices to be made with climate change and these extreme weather events. It's a pretty serious time, and it's time for us all to be thinking about understanding our water so we can manage it better.
Everyone thinks that we have endless water. Some of the Caribbean islands, their water from the aquifer are becoming salty. Coming back, I remember the river was our swimming pool. Now there is just a trickle of water because what is happening, all the big hotels are coming in and just sucking up everything.
Companies are going to exist. We need to learn how to live with them as well. But at the same time, they need to be more responsible in a sense of reusing their water, recycling it, and in this case at the factory, so they don't have to continue to take out of the underground water table, which it can be actually used for drinking instead of producing in the factories, etc.
So I've been at the Berkeley Springs Waterfest for 24 years, and I'm here to make a difference and to share with people that which is universally important, to know that they are the most important mineral water body of water on Earth, and so they need to have it at point of use until we get policy changes that will allow us to be respectful of the sacred fluid that's upon the planet. 97% of the fluid on the Earth is salt, 1.5% is frozen, and 1.5% is fresh. And that fresh water sustains 7.75 billion people. And there's a garbage filled with plastic throwaway trash that's being dumped in waterways every 30 seconds of every day. 5 years ago, it was once every minute. The point of it is we are using the sacred mineral water as a sewer, as a toilet, as a place to throw refuse, to have it be disposed of. If we had the consideration, it's about respecting the sacred planet upon which we fly and making a difference, because we don't have a spare mothership that we can get from the garage.
We were surfing on the wave with our wide open wings, pretending to be brave, but broken as a guitar string. We were gambling with our lives, with a brain dead stupid bet, hoping we could get a rest, but crashing into fatal dives. Look around, it's all crashing down. Too many deaths we cannot forget. Look around, it's all burning down. Too many lives we cannot
Water is fragile because we see what happens when we pollute our water. But water is indestructible. You throw water on a stone, what happens? It just splatters and then recollects itself wherever it can. It doesn't go away. It evaporates, it changes form. So it is indestructible, but it is also fragile.
I have been participating in doing river cleanup projects since 2009. It's important to make sure that we stop the pollution. I'm talking about all the way from trash, agricultural runoffs, chemicals, etc. And why we do it? For our kids.
One of the dangers of drinking plastic bottled water is the fact that the water is sucking the toxins right out of that plastic. So I always correct people when I see them carrying around a single-use plastic bottle. Number one, you shouldn't be doing that for the planet, but as importantly, you're hurting yourself by drinking that water that's pulling all those toxins out of the plastic. It's dangerous to drink plastic bottled water. And we only bottle in glass. We have 3 different sizes, 750s, half gallons, and gallons, and only in glass. Our water is actually too pure to even put in plastic. We wouldn't be able to bottle our water in plastic if we wanted to. I've been involved with water as it relates to health and wellness for a little over 30 years. I hold 4 different water patents, and I'm pretty passionate about water. It's all I've done all my life. Kristen says it's because I have 4 water signs.
Three. He was a senior at the University of Michigan when he filed his first patent. And when I met him, I knew very little about water. I had an RO system. And when we fell in love with each other, I fell in love with water. To me, this was the water man. very wonderful for me to find we met in this place of water, because we had both had companies and we had both kind of semi-retired, and we weren't thinking of doing another business. But this business was kind of doing us. We tasted all kinds of water, and it was not pure, and it was devitalized and literally denatured, because contaminated with so many chemicals. And all kinds of, when we started testing it, we were horrified. So that's really where we started and why.
For my very first patent, which was actually designed around swimming pools and spas, eliminating chlorine, it morphed into drinking water.
He put together a combination that takes all the chlorine out of water and uses H2O to sanitize.
In terms of oxygen, you know, soaking in spa water, our spa water, is bio-oxidative therapy. In other words, you're absorbing all the oxygen, and actually in 20 minutes you'll absorb all the oxygen your body can hold, and it'll last in your body for up to 14 hours. That's why soaking in a forest spa is so powerful. This is it's going to be a large hyper-oxygenated spa. You'll be able to come in. Next time you come here, we'll be able to soak you. Hi there.
Hey there. Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hello, I'm Ken.
Good.
Hi there.
Will, good
Nice to see you.
again.
Yes, I understand you'd been in this tub a while ago.
I did. This
Yeah.
is like 10 years ago.
Okay.
So how long have y'all been around?
About 14 years now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you were just in the
Yeah.
beginning, and
Yeah.
I guess the person working at the factory there on
Yeah.
Delavina Street,
Yeah.
my friend, I told him about you because I do healing and I do readings, read energy.
Uh-huh.
And he said he wants to know, he just said, what your read is on the water.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we went down there and we soaked, and I hear this is the same
It's the
tub.
same. It's the same exact tub.
And I was
Yeah.
really blown away.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
I felt my whole crown chakra open up.
Yeah. It's
I felt my whole body become electrified.
so this tub, it has 30 parts per million of bound and stable oxygen in it. That's a lot of oxygen. Our skin's our largest organ. So when you're sitting in this tub, your body's uploading all that oxygen. So
It changes you.
it changes you.
I've had people soak in that tub and say to me, I can see auras.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
can?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you the colors around your body.
It was amazing. I mean, for days, I felt like $1 million. And as a matter of fact, I asked my friend, how do I get one of these tubs? And she was like, well, they don't have them yet, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
weren't
because
selling
it's
them.
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so then to come back around through Manuel and, oh my gosh, you're the people that make
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the neat thing about this water is a lot of people are familiar with the Ophora in the drinking water we make. This is actually the same quality of the water as our drinking water. You could sit in this tub and drink the water.
Oh, I like
So it's
that.
nano purified down to 0.0001 microns. Again, there's no chemicals in here. So, you know, most people don't get the opportunity to soak in a spa without any chemicals. What happens is, like, you took a shower or a bath this morning, so you have a shell of chlorine on your skin. That interacts with your organic matter and forms chloramines. Chloramines are highly, highly carcinogenic. You know, we tell people if you can't afford one of our whole home systems, at the very least you need a really robust shower filter to remove that chlorine.
Yeah. So good. That was so good. That spirit, the mother of waters. She's here right now. Ken, Chris said, so the mother of water has a message for you. And she's telling me, thank you. She wants you to know how grateful she is for you purifying her, for you cleansing her. Because she, the water, is carrying the karma of humanity. The weight, the heaviness, the thoughts of humanity's anger, wars, and to be purified of the elements that you purify this water, and to fill her with the oxygen again, so that she remembers what it was like to run down a waterfall and over the rocks and glide through the forest, which is her true home. That she's so grateful. She asked that I share that with you.
It's wonderful to hear.
Yes, thank you.
We have a reverence for water. I always have it.
It's sacred to us.
Yeah.
And we just have entered the Aquarian age, which is the age of love. And as this new presence from the universe, from the stars, from the planets, as this new energy comes into our world, more and more and more of the things that are not built from love will begin to disintegrate, and the things that are built from love will flourish. So you created this right at the cusp of the Aquarian age, and now we're here about a year and a half in.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning. Just the beginning. So we're ready now, right?
We're ready.
I think we're ready.
We are.
At Blackwater Pond, the tossed waters have settled after a night of rain. I dip my cupped hands. I drink a long time. It tastes like stone, leaves, fire. It falls cold into my body, waking the bones. I hear them deep inside of me whispering, "Oh, what is this beautiful thing that just happened?"
I have a passion for water because growing up as a child, I was educated by my grandparents the importance of water. As a child, we used to walk miles to get clean water. As a child, when we saw the rainbows, the rainbow always end in the river or in the sea. And I was told that the rainbow is thirsty, so it's drinking water. And when I see a rainbow now, I still look to see if it's fall by the river. And it usually does, but the sad thing is, there is no water for the rainbow to suck. Clean water, what we have on earth, it is so limited. And we really have to treasure it, and we really have to protect it. And this is the reason why up in the rainforest here, I try my best to protect it, but I cannot do it by myself. I'm only one person. It's a job for everyone in the world. And we do not want to lose it, because if we lose it, we cannot get it back. And that is the reason why in our aquifer here, I refuse to exploit it. I know most people think that water is a commodity. You can make so much money from water, but I am only going to take out what nature gives us. I'm not going to interfere with the source in no way whatsoever.
Right, what I wanted to tell you.
Look at how healthy and fantastic it looks. Water is life, and it's such a shame that people do not enjoy pure drinking water. We're trying to make all kinds of drinks out of it, rather than educating people to enjoy drinking clean water with no flavor. It seems now that young children growing up can only drink if there is a flavor in it. Soon, young kids would not even know what pure water that is untouched tastes like. We are lucky here in Grenada to have a water that was voted as one of the best in the world. And as I said, when we went for the competition, it was a world competition. So I hope that the other water enthusiasts out there would help myself and all the other people that took part in enjoying beautiful clean water. The fight should be all of us, because it's only one world. So there is only one water.
I serve as the water master at the Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting, but my history with water goes back to Italy in the 70s, and growing up there with my parents and drinking a lot of bottled water from different communities and keeping a log of which was the better waters, which ones were not so tasty, and that eventually evolved into a book that came out in 1978 called Oasis, The Complete Guide to Bottled Water Throughout the World. Now there's a problem when you write a book and you say The Complete Guide to Bottled Water, because when the book came out, suddenly I heard from all these other water companies that were not in the book that, hey, we're also in the water business. And I quickly discovered there are thousands of waters around the world. So anyway, I've written several books since then. The area that I found most interesting was tasting water and why there was a difference in taste. And that started in 1977, attending an event called Les Amis de l'Eau, the Friends of Water. Everyone turned up to taste these different brands of bottled water, big names like Evian, Perrier, Vittel, Volvic, all those brands. So we sat down, we tasted the water, we looked at it, we sniffed it, and then after a while we figured out which ones we liked the best. And then the organizer of this event, a guy named Bob Levin, said, all right, now let's taste some scotch with these waters and see how that works. Well, the party kind of changed a little bit. Not quite as sobering as it was to start with. But it was an interesting experiment because you found two things out. First, that there were different tastes in waters. And secondly, water can affect everything that you use with it. Water affects the taste of alcohols. Water affects the taste of coffee, of tea, of soups. It even affects the quality, the taste, and the texture of bread. And a wonderful chef named Carl Rosenberg, he was asked by the Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles to create the dinner rolls that were famous from the Olympic Hotel in Seattle. So Carl went up to Seattle, met with the chef. They made some dinner rolls together. He took the recipe back to Century Plaza and tried to replicate those dinner rolls, but they didn't have the texture or the flavor of the ones from Seattle. And he rechecked the ingredients, it was all the same. The only thing that was different was he was using LA water. So he said, could it be the water? He asked his friend up in Seattle to send him some Olympic Hotel tap water, which they did. And then he tried it with that water, and sure enough, the texture, the taste was identical.
But then I went to England as a child, that's where I grew up, and I was totally shocked when I got there and I was told that the water I was drinking was recycled water that's been used time and time again from human waste. I spent nearly 40 years in England. Every time I drank water, it bothered me. And especially when I remember the quality of water we had here.
We could take a cow pond in Africa and purify that water with one of our systems. So we have 4 different levels of whole home systems.
In fact, I don't know another water bottling company that
We compete against ourselves.
manufactures whole home systems and different water purification systems. So we're not only in the bottling business, but we're also in the manufacturing business to purify water in people's homes.
This unit here, we're water testing. We're water testing these right now.
It's crystal. So this water structuring platform actually goes into all of our, what we call point-of-use systems. It's called our whole home essential system. We cut the plumbing line coming into your home, and we plumb this system in. And this gives you wonderfully healthy water. A lot of people don't realize 80% of the pollutants we come in contact with every day is actually from bathing and showering. O4 is all about drinking, bathing, showering, swimming in chemical-free, pure water.
We knew we were looking for the gold standard in water. And we create the world's healthiest water.
What that means is stripping the water clean of all the pollutants. And you start with reverse osmosis. We have 4 patents on this process, and RO doesn't remove all the pollutants. It takes other technologies. It's very important that we start with completely nano-purified waters. Now, once you clean water to that level, you have to add all the goodness back in. That's what we call water restructuring. And that includes adding all the trace minerals back into the water, vortexing the water, oxygenating the water, balancing the pH, bringing water back to the way it used to be. Health is wealth, and we really need to be detoxing our bodies every day. If you start drinking more water and the right kind of water, you're going to immediately start feeling better and have more energy. You don't need Red Bull, you don't need these energy drinks. Most people are dehydrated. Do you know if you dehydrated your brain, took the water out of your brain, it'd be the size of a walnut.
I mean, I remember in the 70s they had a commercial, they said water is the best no-calorie drink in all the world. And I wish people would go back to water, because I find a lot of people don't drink enough water.
Cold water is a drink that you can trust. No one's ever lost teeth from rust. So try to drink 6 glasses. Use the down between your classes. When you're thirsty, reach for water. You know you really ought to. It's the best no-calorie drink in all the world.
In my profession, I definitely check in with people in that regard, because our brain really needs the water, and because I'm a neuropsychologist, I think it's definitely critical for our brain function. And our brain impacts our behavior and our mood and our irritability and headaches and exhaustion and fatigue. For every part of that you get dehydrated, it's like your brain function goes down. I think it's 2%. So yeah, we need that electricity. And also, like I was saying, so for each neuron to jump to the next neuron, we need also at the same time our cells are depolarizing and polarizing. And that's the way we refresh and move to the next neuron. So it's definitely, and also in our synaptic cleft, which is in between each neuron, which is where all our neurochemicals are stored, we really need that to help keep that going. Otherwise we won't be able to function. You can see countries where kids and people don't have water sources, and it really affects their well-being and health.
I see the overall effort as being water for everybody, and that is definitely an area where I've seen firsthand where people are fighting for and dying for, not just not having the water, but also having the bad water. People just can't survive with contaminated water.
If we have reverence for the water that we have in front of us in our glass, really appreciating that it has been through the trees, that it has been through the earth, that it has been through our ancestors, and that it has made its way to us, I think we would be much more grateful.
Let us appreciate what Earth has given us, and let us take care of it. Let us stop the chemicals, the harmful chemicals that we will put in our soil, that would destroy our water sources. Let us don't allow big companies to just come in and suck all the water out from the aquifer. Let us leave some for the rainbows.
Water is what people fight over. They used to say whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting.
The water wars have been fought for millennia, literally. At any one time, there are over 20 conflicts around the world related to water. That's how precious water is. Is there a way we can figure out where water is a shared resource much more so than it is now? And of course, it costs money to harvest water. Of course, it costs money to clean water. But there has to be a way for us to figure out how we can share this precious resource that we all need.
Obviously, it's a political issue. It's also an issue of science, an issue of technology. If we can take the water, particularly take the water from the ocean, and take that water and get drinking water without using the amounts of energy that are now required to do that by, for example, reverse osmosis. If we can do it using the energy of the sun, and we're working on that, that's going to open up doors to obtaining water, good, clean drinking water that may have health benefits as well, and also discouraging the kind of strife that occurs where people are arguing over water rights, and which is leading to war in the Middle East in particular. And wars predicted in the future are going to be over water, because water is a limited resource. And companies are buying up water resources. They're progressively becoming private.
Water will bring us into war, or it will take us into peace. It has to do with our consciousness and our awareness and how we view this very, very precious element that gives us life. Without water, we cannot survive. That's why the wars begin over water. But if we can expand our consciousness and understand that there is plenty of water, we simply need to learn how to care for this water, how to conserve water, but also how to keep water pure, keep her from being polluted, keep her from being wasted.
We live in an abundant world. Technology can go a long way to making that abundance accessible.
These general ideas of creating good, clean drinking water, of separating the salt from the water, of getting energy from the water, can't help but deflate some of the issues that lead to war.
I as water, the water speaking, I as water am here to heal humanity.
Now, there is an Instagram reel that I saw recently going around, and there is a man asking a really interesting question. He says, what if water was God?
Water holds divine wisdom. Not wisdom in the way that you and I think of wisdom, but wisdom in the knowingness of all of creation. Water doesn't fight with itself. It merges together. Water respects the other elements. If it's dry, the water evaporates to bring moisture into the air, which is dry, right? It forms a cloud. It brings rain. It's working with every other part of creation in an intelligence. It's a deeper intelligence. It is beyond what our thinking mind understands, which is why we must enter a time where we go deeper than the thinking mind. We must go into ourself that is before thought, because that's where the true intelligence of who we are, that mirrors the intelligence of water, will come forth. And we will receive from all of nature every solution necessary to save our planet and to take care of all living creatures on this earth.
I shame people when I'm in the right mood. And I go, why are you doing this? You're carrying around this big plastic bottle that you're going to throw away. Is going to end up in a landfill for 500 years. So, you know, stop. But it's a convenience thing. I mean, we've been approached by companies that want to bio for our bottling business. The first thing that they would do is put it in plastic. We have it right in our bylaws. If we do sell this company, they can't do that. Because that's the first thing that they would try and do, is put it in plastic. And we're never going to allow that to happen before.
So I think there has to be a movement from the consumer that says we care about the water we're drinking and we're just not going to buy plastic.
You know, I think it's the younger generation that's going to help with that. I mean, you know, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yes.
So,
We all are. Because they know microplastics.
Because we've kind of made a mess of things.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we did.
we need some help here.
Hey kids, you fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.